One more thing from Dynamite in the main event, we had a Texas Tornado match, Sting and Darby Allin facing and beating the duo of Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita in a tag team match. Easy win for them. Tony Schiavone asking Sting afterward, who do you want to face in your retirement match at Revolution? And out come the returning Young Bucks, who we have not seen since Full Gear when they lost to, what was their name? The Golden Jets, Jericho and Kenny Omega. Yeah, awful. I know there was significance behind it, but I'm just kind of done with Jericho right now. Most people are. He got, like you mentioned before we hit record here, he came out for that segment on Wednesday, and they played his music the whole time, probably to drown out any potential boos, which was really funny. But yeah, so we haven't seen them since Full Gear. They're back now with a new look, again, and they're heels, officially. So the word on the street is, per Fightful, that Sting wanted to face the Bucks in his final match. It's not really a match that interests me or excites me personally. It is a big match because the Bucks are an actual team. I get that. They're a top tag team in that company. I get it. So Sting facing them, even if it's not like he said he wants to face the Iron Savages. Like, this is an actual team, like a top team. It makes sense. I'm honestly fine with the match because it does feel like an attraction to a certain extent. My only issue with it was that him and Darby are not challenging for the tag team titles seemingly before the pay-per-view or at the pay-per-view, unless they put the belts on the Bucks before then, which I guess they could, but the current champs are Ricky and Big Bill, so I don't think the Bucks are going to beat them for the championships. I mean, I guess they could, but that would feel a little rushed. I just don't think you can have Tony Khan going on Twitter complaining of a win-loss is not making sense, and then having Sting and Darby not challenge for a single championship in their 3 years together because they're undefeated. What, because they don't want to have Sting lose? I mean, I get that, but at least explain why he's not getting a title shot. That, to me, doesn't make sense. But Sting and Darby versus the Bucks, it is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, I think if you're going to complain about wins and losses, the fact that Darby and Sting have not got a title shot makes legit no sense. Like I said, I think they're 26-0 in tag team matches. So, like I said, I wouldn't expect them to put the belts on the Bucks, like you said, as well. Big Bill and Stark seemingly are in a different direction. They're heels as well. So I don't see them facing the Bucks anytime soon. But, I mean, if that's what Sting wants, then that's fine. And we'll see what happens from there.
The undefeated streak thing, I'm glad they're going into that match undefeated, but it just doesn't make a whole lot of... Like, no one was really talking about the fact, and I don't know if anyone even really knew that Sting was undefeated prior to recently. So if they had him lose the tag team title shot on TV with Darby or at a pay-per-view, I don't think people would have really batted an eyelash. It would have made the retirement tour... It wouldn't have made it mean any less, is my point. So I don't know why they just couldn't have done it, because I had a lot of people telling me yesterday, well, it's because they didn't want Sting to lose. Okay, then you do it in the final match and you put the belts in the Bucks ahead of time. I mean, well, the Bucks aren't currently... They went away. They had a title shot. The Bucks were number one contenders for like 2 months. They lost the title shot to a team that is no longer around. And I know they couldn't plan for that because Omega got diverticulitis or whatever a couple months ago. So he hasn't been around. But you could have put the belts in the Bucks, which I don't really care about. But I'm saying, but you could have done that to set up this match for the... I mean, I don't know. It's a match. It is a match. Like I said, it's an attraction to a certain extent. But I just think you could have made the match mean more because, yeah, it's Sting's retirement. That alone sells itself. But if you really want to add some stakes, because it doesn't matter whether he wins or loses. If you want to add some stakes, he goes into it either as the defending or the challenger for the tag team titles. I feel like you could have, upped the ante a little bit more. But, again, we're 2 months out from Revolution. Maybe they add the tag team titles in there somewhere. Maybe Sting and Darby become champions before Revolution. It's hard to say.
Yeah, it's possible.
I know you're not high on that, though, because then they would have to do a whole nother turnip to crown new champions or whatever.
And then, like you said, then you put the belts in the Bucks. It's not like they're getting like this huge rub from beating Sting and Darby, who haven't lost yet.
Well, if you put the belts in the Bucks beforehand, they would lose. I think Sting can retire as champion, and I'm okay with that, but I know you probably have a different mindset on that.
No, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does. I mean, not that, like I said, I don't think it really matters either way.
I don't want Bucks to beat Sting and Darby. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The guy's retiring, but, the Bucks beating Sting and Darby, they're going to boast about it for a month or whatever. Oh, we beat Sting in his retirement, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I just don't really... It's just the Bucks with me right now. They don't have go-away heat because they are a talented team. I know you're not a Bucks fan at all, but they've done everything in that company between holding the belts, the six-man belts, baby faces, heels, reunite the Elite, break up the Elite. There's just nothing involving them right now going forward that interests me in the slightest, this included. But I'm just saying, after that, even if they win and they win that match, I just don't know what you do with them from there.
No, I've said this before. I feel like they're so cold at this point.
So cold.
They've just done, like you said, the problem is they've done everything. And this, like, kind of, like, points out, like, the whole, how can I miss you if you don't go away? But they, like, leave for a couple months and then come back. But, like, that's, like, what the territory system was. Like, once you got still in a territory, you left and went somewhere else. Like, when you're doing the same thing in the same company for so long, yeah, they flip-flop babyface and heel, like, 5-6 times. Okay, but at the end of the day, it's still them. So I just they haven't really invented themselves. They've been the same team for the last 20 years, so it's not even like they changed their character at all. They're still the same guys. So I don't know. I feel like I said, the coolest they've been in since they joined AEW, and I just don't, like I said, win the loss, I really don't even know what you do with them next.
I don't know how you heat them back up. I mean, this is one way to do it, maybe, but I just don't even think this would accomplish that. I don't know. And you could also say the same thing like, oh, what about the Usos and the New Day? But at least they're doing different stuff. Like, they broke up the Usos. Jey Uso's thriving right now. The New Day do their own thing in singles from time to time as well. They're still too, but at least they do their own thing in singles. I don't really care to see Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson have a singles run, so they're stuck as a tag team. They're a great tag team, I think, but I don't really know what else you do with them beyond this little feud. I mean, it gives them something to do for the foreseeable future, but beyond that, I don't really know where they go from there. But I do think it's a fine attraction for Revolution that'll also probably feature the three-way that I mentioned, and Will Ospreay's probably debut match one-on-one as an official member of the AEW roster, hopefully against Bryan Danielson.